Aircraft carriers aren't just ships, they're floating fortresses, symbols of power that let nations project their influence across oceans. For decades, only a few countries have had the resources, technology, and expertise to build true supercarriers. The United States has long been the gold standard, but now there is a new player in town. Enter the Fujian Type 003, China's first domestically built supercarrier. Launched in June 2022, the Fujian is a massive leap forward for China's Navy, a stunning show of ambition and innovation. It's not just another warship, this is a statement. This declaration shows that China's military is no longer content to play defense. It wants to compete, dominate, and maybe even surpass the traditional powers of the sea. The Fujian Type 003 is a game changer. This ship stands toe-to-toe with the world's largest and most advanced carriers like the US Navy's Gerald R. Ford-class carriers. It's also the first Chinese carrier to be built entirely from scratch. China has two other carriers, Liaoning and Shandong, but both are heavily based on older Soviet designs. They're smaller, they're less capable, and they rely on a lot of outdated technology. The Fujian is all new. It is sleek, it is modern, and it is packed with cutting-edge systems. The Fujian is named after a coastal province in China, one that's strategically significant given its proximity to Taiwan. If that's not a statement, we don't know what is. The carrier was constructed by the Jianyang shipyard on Changxi Islands near Shanghai, one of China's most advanced naval shipbuilding facilities. Construction began in 2015, though the project remained shrouded in secrecy during its early stages. Initial work focused on laying the keel and developing modular sections, a technique that allowed different parts of the carrier to be built simultaneously before being assembled. By 2018, satellite imagery revealed significant progress as the ship's hull began to take shape. The Fujian was officially launched in a highly publicized ceremony on June 17, 2022. The event marked the transition from construction to outfitting, during which advanced systems such as the electromagnetic aircraft launch system and radar equipment were installed. Sea trials were expected to conclude sometime in 2024, with the ship entering active service shortly after that. It's not immediately clear how far along in the process the carrier is. China doesn't exactly post many updates about its cutting-edge floating titan, but with 2 sea trials now under its belt, it will likely begin roaming the oceans for real in 2025 or 2026 at the latest. Alright, imagine you're trying to create a website and it feels like you're battling 1,000 different tools and juggling designs and payments and content. It's a mess, but Squarespace is here to tidy all of that up. It's an all-in-one platform where you can build a stunning website, manage your online store, and handle payments seamlessly all in one place. No more jumping between apps, no more stress. Squarespace is designed to make everything easier for you, whether you're just starting out or already running a growing brand. Now let's talk about a couple of features that truly make Squarespace stand out. First up, design intelligence. This is like having a top-tier designer and a cutting-edge AI working together to help you create a website that's not just beautiful, but totally personalized to your needs. No design experience, no problem. Design intelligence takes care of all the heavy lifting. And then the Squarespace payments. If you're running an online store, you know how important it is to make the payment process simple. With Squarespace payments, you can accept payments right away, whether it's credit cards, Apple Pay, or even Afterpay. It's super easy to set up so you can focus on growing your business instead of worrying about payments. And if you're looking to raise funds for a cause or project, donations is an awesome feature, allowing you to create dedicated donations pages and accept contributions directly through your website. Plus, you can manage everything from donations to donor information all in one place, making fundraising simpler than ever. So, head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/megaprojects and save 10% off your first purchase of a website or a domain. Big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring, and now back to today's episode. Firstly, there's a lot that we don't know about the Fujian, and according to some reports, many of the components are still being fitted even as the ship completes its sea trials. There's practically no information out there yet regarding armaments, so let's begin with the nuts and bolts. Size matters when it comes to carriers. The Fujian is a behemoth, stretching over 300 meters, that's 1,000 feet in length, which is roughly the height of the Eiffel Tower laid on its side. It displaces around 85,000 tons, putting it on par with some of the largest carriers in the US fleet. This sheer size is not just for show, it means more aircraft, more firepower, and more muscle in the middle of the ocean. It's got a top speed of 30 knots, that's 56 kilometers an hour or 35 miles per hour, and requires a crew of approximately 3,000 sailors and aircrew. What truly sets the Fujian apart from its predecessors is its catapult-assisted takeoff but arrested recovery system, or CATABAR for short. An absolute mouthful, but a piece of technology that allows China to join a very exclusive club. Only the US uses the same takeoff system with its Nimitz-class and Gerald R. Ford-class carriers, and France uses them with the Charles de Gaulle. CATABAR is a launch system that uses electromagnetic catapults to launch aircraft into the sky. It allows the Fujian to launch heavier, more advanced planes with bigger payloads. Forget the ski-jump ramps of older carriers. With CATABAR, the Fujian can easily handle next-generation fighters, surveillance planes, and even drones. Inside, the Fujian boasts state-of-the-art radar systems. Rumor has it that the ship is equipped with dual-band phased array radars capable of tracking multiple targets over vast distances. This means the Fujian isn't just a platform for planes, it's a high-tech command center capable of detecting threats and coordinating strikes in real time. The Fujian boasts an enormous hangar deck capable of carrying between 40 and 50 aircraft. That includes China's cutting-edge J-15 fighters and likely the J-35, which is still in development, but could rival America's F-35 at some point in the future. Another critical feature of the Fujian is its propulsion system. Unlike US supercarriers, which rely on nuclear power, the Fujian uses conventional propulsion. While this limits its range compared to nuclear-powered ships, it's still designed for long-term operations. The ship's equipped with high-efficiency engines that allow it to stay at sea for extended periods without refueling. And let's not forget about defense. While the Fujian is primarily an offensive platform, it's not without its own teeth. The ship is rumored to have a close-in weapon system, or CIWS, anti-missile defenses, and other protective measures designed to intercept incoming threats that you'd naturally expect to have on such a carrier. Put it all together, and the Fujian is a technological marvel, a ship designed to survive on the modern battlefield and dominate it. It's fast, it's powerful, and it's brimming with the latest in naval technology. But all of this does not come cheap. The exact construction cost of such an aircraft carrier has not been publicly disclosed. However, estimates suggest that the expense is substantial given its advanced features and size. Now, for context, the US Navy's Gerald R. Ford-class carriers share similar technological advancements and have a construction cost exceeding $13 billion per unit. Considering the Fujian's comparable capabilities, we could likely apply a similar figure, plus a few billion more for technological developments. Now, when discussing the Fujian Type 003, it is impossible to ignore the inevitable comparison to the US Navy's Gerald R. Ford class, the pinnacle of American aircraft carrier innovation. Both represent their nation's ambitions to dominate naval power, but their differences highlight distinct approaches to military engineering and strategy. The Gerald R. Ford class is the US Navy's most advanced carrier, boasting groundbreaking technology such as the electromagnetic aircraft launch system, which replaces traditional steam catapults for smoother, more efficient aircraft launches. The Ford also features advanced radar systems, a redesigned flight deck for increased sortie rates and nuclear propulsion, allowing it to operate for 20-plus years without refueling. While not nuclear-powered, the Fujian Type 003 mirrors the Ford in many ways. It's China's first carrier to feature EMALS, marking a leap forward from its earlier design. The EMALS catapults are designed to be around 90 meters or 290 feet long, similar to US systems. This puts the Fujian on par with the Ford's aircraft launcher capabilities, enabling it to deploy similar-style aircraft. Where the Ford outshines the Fujian is in endurance and experience. Nuclear propulsion grants the Ford unmatched operational range, while the US Navy's decades of carrier warfare expertise far exceed China's emerging carrier strategy. However, the Fujian signals China's rapid technological advancement, narrowing the gap dramatically between it and the US in terms of naval dominance. While the Gerald R. Ford class still leads in raw capability, the Type 003 is a bold and brash statement that China is ready to challenge that dominance on the high seas. And the race is now closer than ever. Alright, first and foremost, the Fujian is about power projection. As we said at the beginning of today's episode, aircraft carriers aren't just warships, they are floating bases capable of carrying dozens of aircraft thousands of miles away from home. For China, this means the ability to extend its reach far beyond its shores. With the Fujian, China can operate deep in the South China Sea, the Indian Ocean, even the Pacific, supporting its territorial claims, protecting shipping lanes, and intimidating rival nations. The South China Sea is a particularly hot zone. It's one of the most contested regions in the world, with overlapping territorial claims from countries like the Philippines, Vietnam, and Malaysia. China has already built artificial islands, equipped them with military bases, and asserted its dominance. The Fujian adds another layer to this strategy. It's a visible, mobile presence that can enforce China's claims, deter opposition, and challenge the US Navy, which has traditionally dominated these waters. But it's not just about the South China Sea. The Fujian also plays a key role in the Taiwan saga. Taiwan, regarded by China as a breakaway province, is a central focus of Beijing's military strategy. The Fujian casts an ominous shadow across the Taiwan Strait, bolstering its ability to blockade, intimidate, or launch an offensive if tensions ever escalate. With its advanced capabilities, the Fujian provides air support, reconnaissance, and strategic dominance in a political conflict zone. Beyond Taiwan, the Fujian is about global influence. China has been expanding its footprint worldwide, from building ports in Africa to signing trade agreements in Latin America. The Fujian enables China to support these efforts militarily, protecting its interests and showing the world it has arrived as a major naval power. Now, for all its strengths, the Fujian Type 003 is not invincible. It's a remarkable achievement, but like any ambitious project, it comes with significant challenges and limitations. First, there's the issue of operational readiness. Building a carrier, that's one thing. Learning how to use it effectively is quite another. The Fujian is still in its testing phase, and while it looks impressive on paper, it will take years before it is fully operational. Training pilots to use the Katabar system, coordinating complex carrier strike groups, and mastering the nuances of blue water operations are monumental tasks. The US Navy has had decades to perfect these skills. For China, it's new territory. And then there's the lack of combat experience. China's Navy has grown rapidly, but hasn't faced the same real-world conflict as its Western counterparts. The US Navy, for example, has a long history of deploying carriers in combat zones, from World War II to modern-day conflicts in the Middle East. The Fujian, on the other hand, is untested in battle. While a powerful deterrent, its capabilities in a high-stakes conflict remain very uncertain. And another challenge is the conventional propulsion system. With conventional engines, the Fujian is limited in its range and endurance, requiring it to return to port or rely on resupply ships for fuel. This could be a significant disadvantage in a prolonged conflict or a far-flung operation, especially if supply lines are disrupted. The technological gap is also worth mentioning. While the Fujian is packed with advanced systems, it's still playing catch-up in some areas. For example, its air wing, while formidable, doesn't yet include a proven 5th-generation stealth fighter. The J-35 is promising, but it's still under development. Meanwhile, the US Navy has the F-35C, a battle-tested stealth fighter widely regarded as the most advanced in the world. This gives the US a significant edge in air superiority. The launch of the Fujian Type 003 sent ripples across the global naval landscape. The Indo-Pacific has become the center of modern naval competition, with the South China Sea as a major flashpoint. This region is critical for global trade. An estimated 30% of the world's shipping passes through it, and is also rich in resources. The US Navy has been the dominant force for years, conducting freedom of navigation operations to challenge China's territorial claims. The Fujian changes the equation, though. With its advanced systems and larger air wing, the Fujian gives China a powerful tool to assert dominance. Neighboring countries aren't taking this lightly. Japan, for example, has begun converting its Izumo-class destroyers into full-fledged aircraft carriers and investing in F-35B stealth fighters. India is ramping up its naval capabilities and launching its own domestically built carrier, the INS Vikrant. Even Australia, a traditionally quieter player, has strengthened its naval ties with both the US and the UK through the AUKUS alliance, which includes plans for advanced submarines. On a global scale, the Fujian represents China's push to challenge the United States as the preeminent naval power. While the US Navy still holds a significant advantage in terms of numbers, technology, and experience, the Fujian signals that China is closing that gap. This isn't just about numbers, it's about strategy. And the question now is what comes next? Will China build more carriers, possibly nuclear-powered ones, to expand its reach even further? Well, according to vague reports, and sorry, that's all we've got, China likely wants to have another 3 carriers deployed by 2035, which would significantly close the gap to the US. One thing is certain, though. The Fujian has set the stage for a new era of competition.